A captain of industry is a hard-working and innovative man whose strategies transformed the American economy in the post-Reconstruction and early 20th century. They are honored for their charitable activities and donations. Without these men, America would not have taken the stage as a great industrial power. These men provided the competition, innovation, and improvement of the standards of living for all American people. Cornelius Vanderbilt achieved all these things, and although his legacy is complex and disputed, he is the epitome of a captain of industry.
Born to a modest family in Staten Island, New York, 1794, Vanderbilt began working on his father's ferry and freight business as a boy, quitting school at the age of 11. At the age of 16, Vanderbilt was loaned $100 by his parents to buy his own sailboat and begin his own ferry and freight business. He later transitioned to railroads and became an American industrialist and philanthropist who built his immense wealth in railroads and shipping.
Vanderbilt made his wealth by competing on a low-price basis to outsell his competition and provide an affordable transportation to Americans. He lived in a modest estate, so he spent most of his wealth on acquiring new vessels at first, then on buying railroads and creating the Grand Central Terminal, then later on major philanthropies. In the Vanderbilt and Gibbons ferry business, they charged a quarter of what their competitors charged. And the Vanderbilt and Gibbons partnership soon became the dominant ferry service on the Philadelphia-New York route. During their partnership, Vanderbilt and Gibbons also brought the landmark Supreme Court case to the national stage. Gibbons v. Ogden broke up many monopolies granted by the states.
In 1857, Vanderbilt made the smart business move to enter the industry of railroads. He began the purchasing of railroads, including Long Island, New York and Harlem, and Central Pacific. Together, they formed New York Central Railroad. While seeking to make profit, he still offered low fares and improved service and equipment of railroads. Once expanded to Chicago, he had officially formed the largest American system of railroad transportation, which provided much more convenience to American citizens to travel through one line rather than competing lines.
Vanderbilt was the ultimate competitor. He rose from a poor family to enormous wealth. He believed that if he was capable of this huge transformation, others should be able to rise from poverty as well. As a direct product of social Darwinism, Vanderbilt, of course, viewed it as a necessary part of American capitalism. Only those born to wealth and privilege succeeded in society, but through social Darwinism, the self-made man could rise to the top. Vanderbilt believed in this system as it enabled him to become such a wealthy and influential businessman. He was able to take advantage of this limited social mobility offered through social Darwinism and expected others to also take initiative and change their situation themselves.
The Panic of 1873 was devastating to America's economy. Although most railroads went bankrupt, Vanderbilt's New York Central was one of the few that continued to be successful. Vanderbilt's astute business practices kept his business on top even through these hard times. The Grand Central Terminal in New York City offered jobs to thousands who were suffering during this panic. Vanderbilt provided jobs for thousands of unemployed Americans, especially with his creation of the Grand Central Terminal. He clearly viewed all those in need of work in the sympathetic way, which did not change too much over time. He also gave Christmas bonuses regularly to aid his employees. Many Americans have claimed to have worked long hours for little pay, but during this time of workers' and employers' reforms, Vanderbilt's employees were working in the same hours for the same pay, and if not better conditions than all other American employees. Vanderbilt had a stabilizing influence on the national economy by offering income to many middle-class Americans and continuing to provide transportation to small businesses.
Vanderbilt did not pose a threat to the American political system. He was just a businessman with a goal to make money, as well as helping the common people and the other entrepreneurs of America.
The New York Central allowed numerous businesses to operate nationally rather than locally, which helped the nation's economy prosper. His coherent system, spanning several states, lowered travel fares, sped up shipment and travel time, and significantly increased the railroad efficiency. As gold seekers of the 1849 gold rush desperately needed transportation to the California goldfields, Vanderbilt's system became a dependable and reliable source of efficient transportation. Vanderbilt steamboats traveled through Nicaragua rather than the Panama Canal, which cut off 2 full days of travel. During the gold rush, cheap and quick transportation was essential to the success of a miner.
Another controversial issue in Vanderbilt's life is charges of corruption, mostly stemming from economic theories that have since lost validity. As one of the first and most notable stock splits rewarding Vanderbilt with rising share value on the stock market, current businessmen now widely accept these practices as legitimate. Conservative businessmen resisted progress condemned these progressive moves.
Vanderbilt positively impacted the overall way of life for Americans. Through competition, he offered a less costly mode of transportation for the common man, not just the elite. Although his transportation fares were not high, he did not compromise in luxury and convenience, overall presenting the best fit product in the market. With the overall drop in transportation fees, businesses were provided with an easy and profitable mode of shipping for their goods. Not only did he save Americans money, but he offered jobs to thousands of unemployed. Therefore, throughout his life, Vanderbilt worked toward an improved way of life for Americans.
Vanderbilt is often not credited for his major philanthropic contributions. He donated $50,000 to the Church of the Strangers in New York City. He also was a major contributor to education. He donated $1 million to Central University. The university was so grateful for the contribution, they graciously renamed the university to Vanderbilt University.
Although Vanderbilt had his personal interests in mind, his actions ultimately benefited the American people. As he said to New York State legislator in 1867, "I have always served the public to the best of my ability. Why? Because like every other man, it is in my interest to do so." While competing with other businesses, Vanderbilt cut rates and increased the size and luxury of both his steamboats and train cars. Vanderbilt might not have done this to benefit the public welfare, but in the end, regardless of his intentions, the public did benefit.
Vanderbilt is an enormously powerful but taciturn man, was one of the most misquoted individuals of the 1800s. These misquotes and outright inventions accredited highly controversial phrases to Vanderbilt that he never actually said, according to my colleague, Pulitzer Prize-winning T.J. Stiles. Some of these ridiculous falsehoods included quotes like, "The law is too slow, I'll ruin you," and "Law, what do I care about the law? Ain't I got the power?" These inventions attempted to discredit Vanderbilt's legacy.
Competition was a necessity in order for America to prosper. Vanderbilt had an anti-monopolist view towards businesses. The survival of the fittest in industry was paramount to the success of American companies. Companies were run efficiently and offered the best product would undoubtedly outcompete their rivals. This enabled only the best adapted businesses to succeed and go on to market their low-price, high-quality products to Americans and the rest of the world.